Hi, I'm Angela.
Hi, I'm Yareli.
Hi, I'm Verenice.
And welcome to ELD, English Learner Development, Equity in the Classroom. We researched and designed a website on ELD. Our mission is to determine the equity and resources provided to ELD students in California classrooms, and our goal is to provide supplemental, easy-to-access support and resources for teachers, students, and families.
As part of our research, we interviewed California teachers and found that many resources are not well known or distributed. So we created this website that has all resources available in one place for both students, parents, and teachers. It is key that all of these individuals know about what resources are available to them, since they influence the student directly in different ways. Students are able to perform better if they feel supported by their parents or guardians, and especially teachers. We hope to distribute this to our communities and schools. We created a student page with many resources that students can have access to. The resources provided here are for all ages. One resource that we can talk about is Duolingo. Duolingo is a free website where students can practice their English at home. This website allows them to hear words as well as spell them out. The more they get correct, the more points they gain, which allows them to move up levels, almost like playing a game. Not only does this allow them to play a game, but they also learn English simultaneously. There are many other resources on this page that are all accessible for students at any time from their home.
By 2025, 25% of students in the US will be English learners, so we provided a resource for teachers to help in all areas of the classroom. We provided current inclusion resources, a systematic improvement plan, a suggested classroom library for children and for additional teacher support, as well as other classroom supplemental materials, such as Teacher Pay Teacher website, which lets you browse the categories and get helpful tried and true curricular activities.
My part of this project was to talk about parent resources. While we all know that in working with the content in ELD, teachers try to focus their instruction and language standards. Often this kind of planning can become difficult when there is not enough support or clear guidance. In this section, we will welcome English language learners and show the learning programs that parents can have access to for getting involved in their children's education to help them feel comfortable before entering an English classroom. The following resources support parents with ways and opportunities of being able to help their children grow when they face challenges at school. All of the resources listed below are multilingual, offering programs, tutors, school support, and teaching ELL. A local source here in Sonoma County Office of Education offers information on instructional programs that support the role in academic success for ELD students. To ensure parents are informed and in what ways to get involved in their children's education, resources are available to support their children on their journeys as English language learners. If we take a look at the infographic, we can realistically see the reasons for how parental engagement in schools, one of them being time, language barrier, lack of knowledge, motivation, and inconvenience. Because so much of this intervenes in the parent's life, we want to share our findings and share with you that there are academic resources that will help parents teach their children to increase their level of learning. The bookmark was an inspirational idea we came up with. It represents our project and the message we are trying to put across. It reads ELD equity in the classroom. And so once you scan the QR code, it will give you access to what you see on our screen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Brown.
I'm Fiona Javete.
I'm Claire Rosenquist.
And our project is outdoor education, increased student engagement, and mental health benefits.
The topics that our group found most intriguing were outdoor education and mental health. And luckily, there is so much correlation between outdoor education and positive mental health benefits. We also saw the disengagement teachers were facing as a result of online learning these past 2 years. This culminated into a need for resources for teachers to give them new tools on re-engaging their students and getting them outside of the classroom. I thus partnered with Fairfield Osborne Preserve, associated with Sonoma State, to create a workshop for teachers on the preserve to show them the amazing benefits of outdoor education and field trips for their student engagement and mental health. This workshop includes human history, science, art, and critical thinking. It relates to curriculum, but also gives students a chance to run outside and get hands-on experience. In the workshop I created, there are distinct stops, like the stone fence that discusses the history of Native Americans on the preserve, but at the same stop, students get to eat pine needles. Our group saw the deficit of outdoor education in our own county and wanted to provide that opportunity to teachers. The emphasis of the workshop is walking teachers through what field trips would be like at Fairfield Osborne Preserve, and these tours for the kids have the purpose of giving students a chance to be a real scientist, make observations, and even maybe hold a salamander or a newt. You can see the entirety of the workshop as well as videos from a workshop we all put on at Fairfield Osborne Preserve with the intent of incorporating outdoor education into our community.
We felt it was important to include Indigenous land acknowledgement resources as a way to integrate Native American studies into our outdoor education initiative. Connecting the past to the present, the Fairfield Osborne Preserve is located on the traditional homelands of the Southern Pomo and Coast Miwok peoples. And through representation by the Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria, they sponsor the preservation and education efforts of the preserve today. The lesson plans I created are a jumping off point to understanding that Indigenous land acknowledgement is a statement and a call to action. The main difference between the kindergarten to second grade lesson plan and the 3rd to 5th grade lesson plans are the videos used to begin the conversation. For the younger students, it is a video from the PBS Kids show, Molly of Denali, which defines acknowledgement and displays the creation of a simple school land acknowledgement. For the older students, the video is from the U.S. Department of Arts and Culture and focuses on what land acknowledgement is and how it can affect those of Indigenous heritage in the U.S. today. After the video, the students will discuss land acknowledgement statements and action plans, creating an illustration or writing a paragraph about how they can join the Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria and others in caring for the land. Below the lesson plans are additional resources for teachers about the history of the Federated Indians of Great and Rancheria, including links to their website for more on their history, culture, and land preservation efforts. Also included are the Sonoma State land acknowledgements and an alternate lesson plan that would guide students in creating a land acknowledgement for their school or classroom. For more information, please see the reference section at the end of each lesson plan.
I, Chloe, did some research into the many significant mental health benefits to outdoor education, as well as spending time outside in general. I was able to find quite a few studies that have been done on the subject, as well as quite a few articles, and I found a lot of information from them. On our website, we have a page which is displayed on the screen that contains information from my research. I basically summarize the information here for you to see, as well as included a section for further reading further down this page. I also included the handout I made from the workshop, which basically condenses this information further to have for reference, and you can hand it out after the workshop, and it has a QR code which will take you directly to the website. I also have, as you can see right here, a video titled Creek ASMR and Naturalist. A lot of people find the sounds of nature very soothing, children and adults, myself included. And there's this beautiful creek at the Fairfield Osborne Preserve, so I record some sounds for that, as well as a moment where you can see the naturalists at work displaying a certain animal that you can find in a creek on the reserve. Go to the reserve to find out what it is for yourself. And down here's we're excited. And we also have a page of alternatives, because it can be really, as we saw in our project, it can be very hard to get outdoors to actually, do outdoor education. So we have some alternatives where you can still apply the principles. Like we've got some tour videos, as well as some other place to go resources. So that way, even if you can't do a full field trip to the Fairfield Osborne Preserve, you can still bring nature into your classroom.
And that's it.
Thanks for checking out our project.
Get outside.
Hello, y'all. My name is Sarah.
My name is Jasmine.
And my name is Lauren.
And this is our website in ADHD World, a platform to help guide students, teachers, and families living with ADHD. As you will see, there are 3 buttons that you may press, whether you're a student, family, or faculty, with more information on each. And then there's our mission statement that goes more in depth of what this website will be including the resources for students, family, and faculty, addressing many misconceptions about ADHD, and giving a more positive outlook on it. And then at the very bottom of the page is a survey that you can press on a link to for those with ADHD, or if you know someone with ADHD.
Going back up, if you're a student, you'll be pressing on the Students tab. So here's a short description on what ADHD will look like. Standing for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, this neurodevelopmental disorder affects an individual's behavior and how their mind is wired. And this can show up as how they might behave in a classroom setting. So here, a student can press this link to a page where they can learn more about what ADHD is for them. Depending on whether you're a child, a young adult, or an adult, this can present different characteristics. Whether you're a boy or girl, this also has differences as well. So going towards the bottom, we have a section for challenging stereotypes. This will show myths and how there are actual facts to kind of debunk them. And then going here, we have an additional resources surveys page. This provides all the information that we have gathered from our survey, what has worked for others, and what should be added into their lifestyle so that it will make their lives easier. And then what other parents and students and families have said, what other teachers have done in their classrooms has also been listed here. So going back to the students page, if you scroll down a little bit more, we have a strategies page, which Lauren will be focusing on later. And we scroll all the way down, we have a students resources page. This page, we have consolidated all of the survey results for what helped students the most. And then we've also included the other additional resources page here as well. So going on to family.
There we go. I was just waiting for it to load on my end. So for the family page, this is another point of view. We start with that exact same what is ADHD page. We made sure that that is linked on every single portion of our website because we want to make sure that all people can access it. So that's the very beginning. If we scroll down a bit, we have a part that is building a strong relationship with your child. We found some really great information on kidshealth.org. So we definitely recommend checking that out if that's of interest to you. And then when we scroll down to the very bottom of this page, it talks about what can I do for my child? And those are our 504 and our IEP plans. We gave some information about what both of those are and how you can look into acquiring those for your child. On our family drop-down menu at the very top, there's the link to what is ADHD, which is that page that Jasmine covered in the student section. And again, that additional resources and survey page also covered in the student section. But let's go ahead and move on to our faculty page. There we go. So for our faculty page, it starts out very much the same. It talks about what does ADHD look like in the classroom setting, and then it gives some information for teachers on how could they best support students with ADHD. So if we scroll down a bit, there are a few classroom success tips in 3 different categories, which are communication, assignments and tasks, and individualized plans. So we got this really great information from the CDC, and we made sure to link that below for anybody that would like more information. If we go to the faculty drop-down menu, we have the what is ADHD page again and the additional resources page. And then the new page on there is school-based management strategies, which I believe the students also have access to it. The 2 school-based management strategies are behavior classroom management and organizational training. We made sure to link some information about both at the bottom, as well as a link to the actual manual for organizational training.
And then if you click the very top of the website, there's an About Us page, which will open up into a small paragraph that discusses our thought process on this website and all of the fact checking, research, questionnaire answers and time we put dedicating to making sure that you have the correct information. And then on the very bottom is just a little more about us. And really, we hope you enjoy this presentation. Please fill out our survey if you can. And I hope you have a nice rest of your day.
Hi, my name is Leila.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
And we did our senior capstone project on reevaluating STEM education in the classroom. And we did this because the two of us took Kevin's 320B core class together, which was about informal learning and STEM education. And as two women who grew up in the American educational system, we have felt unrepresented by STEM in our early years of curriculum. And this is the case for most young women and students of color, and especially young women students of color.
I grew up in the Silicon Valley, where there was definitely a hierarchy within the school system. Students of color, as well as women, were typically put in lower STEM classes, and those that were white males typically dominated the upper division STEM classes. This created obstacles for those that did want to attain a spot in the higher STEM classes, but were deemed as not fit to do so.
And our project is just kind of based on leveling that playing field and allowing kids to have the opportunity to advance in STEM subjects if they feel so inclined, and also just to spark an interest in their minds in general, because when advancing in a subject is deemed unattainable, it just makes it a little bit harder to find excitement in that subject. So that's what our project is based on. So our solution was to create a website that it's kind of just a one-stop shop for a lesson plan and background information on our subject, and some really cool resources that are good at explaining exactly why STEM education should be informally taught and should be inclusive and accessible for all people. So our first page is just quick little background about everything that we just talked to you guys about. Our background page kind of talks a little bit about, it kind of hones in on our issue, and we created this acronym that just kind of encapsulates exactly how we feel STEM education should be presented to students, and that is EAI, enriching, accessible, and inclusive. We have a couple infographics here that showcase exactly how minorities are not represented in STEM, and women and minorities are not represented in STEM occupations. And we talk about how everyone can help with this issue. It's not just teachers, and our own STEM experiences as well.
We really wanted to go ahead and make sure that we got across that STEM education informally starts at home, not necessarily in the classroom. So any kind of guardian, any parent, friends, family, they are also in charge of creating a helpful and a positive STEM experience for children, so that when they get to the classroom, they feel confident and represented, and they feel like they have access to all of this education and all of this STEM informal learning, and can therefore have autonomy in the classroom.
Exactly. And to kind of make it a little bit easier for educators, we wanted to create a sort of STEM day where kids can explore STEM in an informal way and kind of just like ignite that passion within them by approaching STEM education in the way that we think is really beneficial. So we talk a little bit about what STEM is and what we did about it, which was create some stations. Just a bunch of fun, informal, STEM-related activities for kids. Kind of like, I like to think of it as like bringing a science field trip into the classroom, and in a way that is accessible to all kinds of schools, regardless of your resources. So that's that. And then our last page, like we touched on earlier, is just a bunch of awesome videos that you can watch yourself or show your kids, show your students, and all that good stuff.
So in conclusion, our mission here is to make sure that STEM education is seen as a positive thing, something that's accessible to everybody, that's inclusive to everybody, and that can be found relatively easy for inside the classroom and for outside the classroom. We want to try and bridge those gaps between white males that are dominating the field, and women, minorities, anybody else that wants to get a leg up in STEM. We want to make sure that they have access to do so as best that we can, as somebody that wants to be an educator and is around kids or around other people and just wants to push this idea of informal STEM learning in the classroom and outside.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome to our senior project. My name is Monica.
I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Alexis. We have created a mini documentary that addresses the importance of healthy meals within the school system. Having a healthy, nutritious meals improves the food security, obesity rates, and poor health.
We conducted a set of interviews with teachers as well as 2 elementary school students about the meals that are being provided for
Through
them.
our research, we learned that many students rely on school lunches. We decided to make a pantry, so that way anyone who needs food will be able to take whatever they may need. The community will also be able to add the items that they want to donate, that way the pantry is consistently filled.
We are very passionate about this topic because it's very important for children to build healthy eating habits at a young age. If children are exposed to healthier food options such as the food plate that consists of fruits, veggies, and proteins,
they are more likely to live a healthier lifestyle in the future. Hopefully this documentary provides an insight into what a healthy meal is and how you can bring it into your home or classroom.
Into the children's school.
I'm Melissa Nelson. I'm the director of the children's school at Sonoma State University.
My name is Bethany, and I'm the master teacher of the Dandelion classroom, which is 2 and 3-year-olds.
And my name is Jess. I'm the master teacher of the Poppies classroom, which is ages 3 to 5.
What food does the school provide?
So we are part of a federally funded food program, which is called the Child and Adult Care Food Program. That food program has a meal pattern that we're required to meet. It's about whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and proteins, and dairy.
Okay.
So we have a health and nutrition coordinator who's not here today for you guys to meet, but he creates a menu based on those components and that meal pattern so that he's providing all of those nutrition for each meal or snack that's required and enough for the amount of children that are enrolled for those days. He is really creative, and so a lot of times children are exposed to foods that they may have never been exposed to, such as quinoa, or he makes curry, tofu.
Hi, we're here at Sonoma State's Children's School. Here's the community garden where they grow fruits and vegetables to use for breakfast and lunch.
Observing the kids at the children's school at their lunchtime.
We're just watching them, and we noticed that they are able to serve themselves, so I think that's really important because it gives them like some type of independence. Today they are eating salad, sweet potatoes, chicken, and quinoa, which I think it's like a well-balanced meal.
Yeah, and they also have milk, but what's pretty cool about it is that they get to grab their own portions because they know how much they want, and if they need extra, they can grab it.
So these are the products we're gonna be using to build our pantry. We're gonna start off with our wood material, 5 of them. This is gonna be our back piece. We're gonna have our brackets, 4 of them. We're gonna have nails. We're gonna have screws. We're gonna have our saw, tape measure, glue, hammer, and our drill.
Hi guys.
Hi.
What is your name?
Alex. Ayan.
How old are you guys?
6. 9.
You had lunch from school?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of food do they serve?
They serve pasta. Hamburgers.
Okay.
Hot dogs.
Hi everyone. So I just wanted to come on here for a little bit and show you guys this website. It's from Harvard and it's basically showing us what a healthy plate would look like. What's really cool about this website is that it shows you the categories on the plate, and then if you click on them, it gives you examples of what you could be eating for a healthier, balanced diet and what things you should be avoiding. And then right here, we also have fruits, whole grains, healthy protein.
Thank you for watching our documentary. Bye.
Hi, we're the creators of the Food for the Body and Soul project. I'm Annika.
I'm Emily.
I'm Lauren. And for our project, we wanted to focus on providing our community access to food, education, and other basic human needs, such as toiletries, feminine hygiene products, etc. Food insecurity, isolation, and educational barriers have been made worse by the pandemic. Our goal is to bring back those connections through the act of sharing and giving.
We are choosing to combat this dilemma with our little library. Within this community library, we are supplying it with ready-to-eat and non-perishable foods that are easy to make for those who do not have access to cooking appliances. Many people in this community struggle to afford food for themselves as well as their family. By providing what we can, people in our community can get what they need in order to support themselves.
Our community library also holds items such as toiletries like feminine products. As many of us know, these are very expensive products to buy, but are necessary and a human right. Our final addition to our library are books, of course. We find this addition to be very important because education is power. Most education systems lack the funding to be able to provide a diverse set of reading materials that would support their students on their intellectual journey. The education system is also not set up to include these kinds of books.
A wide selection of books will be included in our library, such as books regarding different cultures, climate change, and children's books. We want to make sure that there is a book for every interest.
We felt it was important to educate the congregation on this issue of food insecurity, involving the tween group from the Unitarian Universalist congregation felt like the perfect way to make our project as intergenerational as possible. With their help, the pantry turned out beautiful.
For more information on our Take What You Need, Leave What You Can library, we have created a Google site, which you can see here, as well as a QR code that is attached to our library that leads to a detailed page of what our project is, what you can donate, and who we are. The library will be located at the front entrance of the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Santa Rosa.
We thank you all for the support we've received throughout this project, and we are excited to see the positive effect that it will have on our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrea Hernandez.
Hi, my name is Sydney Gutierrez.
Hi, my name is Jordan Murayama.
And we decided to do our senior capstones project on implementing nutrition education into the core subjects and finding a culturally sensitive approach to nutrition education. Following the 2020 global pandemic, childhood obesity is on the rise. With low funding and outdated teaching methods, students are not receiving appropriate and culturally sensitive nutrition education. We wanted to address this issue by creating a resource guide for California elementary school educators so that they can have all the resources they need to improve their nutrition education in their classrooms and support the healthy development of their students. Another goal while creating this guide was to provide elementary educators with activities, worksheets, and lesson plans that implement nutrition education into the core subjects. So here is our resource guide titled Exploring Nutrition Education and Implementing it into the Core Subjects, a reference guide for California educators, grade levels of kindergarten through 5th grade. And our first section is about the important role that nutrition plays in child development.
And our second section is about National School Lunch Program funding and statistics.
Thank you, Sydney. So yes, the National School Lunch Program Funding and Statistics is a great resource for educators to refer to when learning about how their students can get accessible, free, or reduced lunch at school, and how they can depend on which state actually provides these programs. This applies to public, nonprofit, and residential childcare institutions. This can also help how students can get involved in this program to get qualified for breakfast and lunch during the school day.
Our second section is about the culturally sensitive approach to nutrition education. We wanted to find a more updated way about educating children about nutrition in a culturally sensitive way that celebrates cultures and culturally diverse foods and traditions. So we provided resources for educators to reference when educating themselves about culturally diverse foods and how people eat around the world, as well as lesson plans about the culturally sensitive approach to food and how to teach kids about recipes from around the world. And we also included links and resources for multicultural food kits that accommodate different cultures, as well as dietary restrictions that usually aren't found in these play kits. And we also included children's literature that talks about nutrition in a culturally diverse way. For all different age groups, we have a bunch of books that talk about the importance of food and sharing food and how you can share your culture through food.
Thank you, Sydney. So the final way that we addressed our issue is that we created lesson plans and activities as resources for educators. We broke the lesson plans and activities into sections based on the core subjects that they are integrated with: math, science, social studies, and English. It's important to integrate the nutrition education into the core subjects because it is the most cost-effective way for teachers to go about being activists for their students to have good nutrition. And it also helps them support the healthy development of the students. Okay. Our resource guide will be posted on our website in the Hutchins repository, and you can also reach out to us at our emails. So my email is murayama@sonoma.edu.
My email is hernan30, that's going to be HERNAN30
And my email is gutiesyd@sonoma.edu, GUTIESYD@sonoma.edu. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Hi, I'm Anissa Fajardo, and my senior project is called Asian American Representation in the Education System. So what I wanted to address with this project is how a lot of curriculum doesn't address Asian Americans as being a part of American history or being significant in American literature. And so I wanted to see how that affects Asian American students and their experiences in school, as well as how I can help change that as just one person. So 3 things that I did to do that are I created some lesson plans that incorporate Asian American written books into elementary, middle, and high school curricula, and created book lists for teachers so that they can incorporate more Asian American written books into their class libraries, as well as interviewed some of my Asian American peers about how the lack of representation has made them feel over their career as a student. And then I have made a website that outlines all of the stuff I did, has all of the interviews, lesson plans, book lists, as well as an essay I wrote comparing 2 documentaries about Asian American students going through the college admissions process. And yeah, I hope you like it. Thank you so much for looking at my project.
Hi everyone, my name's Maddie.
My name's Ashley.
I'm Nina.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Mina.
And our group decided to focus on the importance of representation in children's literature. Our mission statement is diversity in children's literature is crucially important for children who identify with different communities because it provides them with an opportunity to learn and embrace their own identity while also learning about others. Without it, they may feel invisible or inferior to those who we more frequently see books written about. By including resources and a list of books about a variety of topics, we strive to diversify libraries' available book options and bring awareness to the importance of representation within the pages.
We created this website to show the importance on why diverse representation in children's literature is important. With this, we provided 4 book topics that we believe deserve more diverse recognition and also provided resources for teachers, adults, and the librarians to look at.
Throughout our research, we found that books that depict children with disabilities, minority backgrounds, different family dynamics, and non-gender conforming roles are greatly unrepresented in children's literature. On this page, we provide additional information, explain the importance of these topics, and provide a variety of statistics and examples that pertain to each particular category.
In this page of our website, students, teachers, and librarians will be able to find links to resources that we felt that were important to help with representation in children's literature, which include finding books in diversity and social justice, racial equity social resources, and LGBTQ literacy resources, and multicultural literature resources, where students and teachers will be able to get resources for their classrooms.
An additional resource we found is following 2 local Sonoma County moms who saw a need for diversity in children's books, and they created a subscription box that you can just subscribe to monthly to get a variety of some of the book topics that we discussed. So if you want to find out more, feel free to check it out.
Through our research, we have seen this issue being present. Here are some ways that you can help make more diverse literature. With 1 being educating yourself on the importance of representation in books. 2, donating to the organization Why We Need Diverse Books, which is helping diversify classroom libraries, provide financial support to diverse authors, and finally support diverse books and authors, because by spending money on diverse books and authors' books, you're sending the message to publishers that these books can make money. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to check our website, diversebooksforkids.godaddysites.com.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Becca.
Hi, I'm Samantha.
And I'm Kira, and today we'll be presenting our senior capstone project on diversity in children's literature. This project was derived from actually a Libs through 27 class, where we learned that it was very important to have doors and windows for children, which means having inclusive literature where they're represented in. And we also discovered that not all children had access to these books. So through our project, we were hoping to make a resource in which parents and educators could find inclusive literature that they could bring home or to their schools.
We went to 3 libraries, the Sonoma State University Children's Library, Rohnert Park Public Library, and the Springtown Library in Vallejo. We surveyed each library for books with diverse and inclusive stories. We looked for books featuring cultures such as Native American, Asian American, African American, and Latinx American. We also looked for books that featured the LGBTQ+ community and characters with disabilities.
On our website, we've included some resources on how parents and teachers can find inclusive books, including the local library and using YouTube for students to be able to access books.
We also included some additional resources, such as a video on the windows and mirrors of your child's bookshelf, which was a video we saw in Lab 227 that really helped us make this project, and some resources to find other books that you may want that may not be featured on this website. Our first tab is on disabilities. Some of the categories are ADHD, autism, blind and visually impaired, deaf and hard of hearing, dyslexia and dyscalculia, epilepsy, and physical disability. Some of these topics were a little bit more harder to find, as ADHD and epilepsy tended to have animal books to represent these disabilities instead of actually having children in the books. Our next tab is on African Americans. The subcategories are culture and traditions, historical heroes and events, self-love, social justice and activism, and STEM. So on the STEM page, it is some scientists and architects and doctors that really help the community advance.
For the Native American tab, we broke it up into stories about culture and language, then family and food, and then stories that would teach valuable values to kids. And then the Asian American tab, we broke it up into stories about going to school for the first time, stories about family, culture and folklore, and stories about food.
For the Latinx American, we've split into culture, historical people and events, and bilingual stories. And for gender and sexuality, we split into girl power, the LGBTQ+ community, and historical events and people. I particularly like the book that includes both women and LGBTQ community. And thank you for viewing our project with us.
Hello, welcome to our senior capstone project. My name is Alyssa.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Haley.
And today we will be taking you through the teaching credential program and figuring out if you are financially prepared.
So the problem that we came about is the fact that there's not a lot of information on the credential program itself. So the rigorous unpaid hours that are involved. We also noticed that a lot of students going into it may not have enough financial support, especially with the increasing cost of living here in Sonoma County. Something else that we found is that a combination of students teaching and the amount of units required make it difficult to also hold a job while in the credential program.
So our solutions are talked about in more depth on our pamphlet, which Haley will open. But our project wanted to compile all the resources that we found useful for students applying to the program, and all the different resources that they can use in terms of grants, loans, all that stuff. And so a few solutions that we came up with are the extended program option, the grants, a stipend or paid student teaching, and we also highly recommend that students obtain their substitute teaching certification.
So for grants, financial aid, and loans, we have compiled all this information on the pamphlet, but we wanted to make you aware that grants or loan forgiveness comes with red tape and that you should always read the fine print. For instance, the Teach grant requires you to serve 4 years in a high need field or it will turn into a high interest loan. You can find more information on grants, financial aid, and loans at the California Student Aid Commission's website found on our pamphlet.
So we also gave some surveys to current Hutchins students going into the credential program and alumni who have graduated from a credential program. We asked them a few questions, but some of the ones that we want to highlight is first, asking our current Hutchins students just what they knew, if they knew what the process required, how many hours, and what the tuition costs. And then for our alumni, most importantly, whether or not they felt well informed before applying, and then what their financials look like during. So if they received grants and financial aid, and if they were able to work a job while they were in the program.
So from our alumni credential recipients, we found that 16% of the responses were from students who are currently enrolled, and 41% graduated the program a year to 4 years ago, and another 41.7 have been out of the program for 5+ years. Out of those responses, 33.3 received grants or financial aid, and 66.7% had support from their families. After sharing the survey with future credential attendees, we found that 63.7% were unaware of the hours required before completion of the program, and 36.4% were aware of the 600 hours required by the state of California's credential program. We also found that 72.8% were unaware of the cost of the program, and that 27% were aware.
A few other statistics that we wanted to highlight that we got from our surveys are current Hutchins students said that 45 of respondents said that they did not feel as though they had easy access to the information. Another 45% said that they were going to have to take out loans to support themselves. Of the alumni, 33% that they said that they did not feel well informed about the program, especially the testing requirements when it came to being in the program. 59% said that they needed financial support from family, and 66% said that they maintained a job the first semester of student teaching. It's also really important to note that a lot of them said that while they were able to maintain a job during the first semester, the second semester was much more of a challenge. Alyssa will follow up with the advice from our alumni.
So some of the advice we are sharing from our alumni credential recipients from our survey is included within our pamphlet, but we also wanted you to be aware that when we are sharing the honest, real, and raw feedback, it's only to make you aware, not to steer you away. One piece of advice that we really wanted to touch on was that the recipient said to value the time that you spend in the classroom. It'll be scary student teaching, but you learn the most being in the field. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Shelby.
Hello, I'm Brenda.
And I'm Cassie, and today we're looking at are teacher unions doing enough? Unions are meant to provide a voice, support, and resources for educators, yet they're faltering in some areas. Educators have continued to fight to receive a wage increase over the years, and strikes have continued to happen because teacher salaries are not enough as a living wage. The concern may lie within the unions. Where are they faltering for educators when it comes to their needs being met? Are they progressing as times change, or are they stagnant?
One of our solutions was to interview teachers. We interviewed a few teachers within the surrounding school districts to find issues that they seem that need to be addressed, and they proposed their own solutions. I got to interview Ms. Reinders. She works in an elementary school in Oakley Unified School District. She proposed she wanted more positivity within her union. Ms. Lorenz, she's a high school teacher in the Liberty Unified School District, and she wants more community involvement and for the community to know what the unions are doing.
I interviewed Mr. Salazar in an elementary school in the Napa Valley Unified School District. He mentioned high fees are something that are part of being in teacher unions. He suggested that there should be more transparency as to why those high fees are around, and if they aren't able to be reduced, then some sort of budget should be created to be shown at local meetings.
Our next solution was internet solutions. On our website, we provided 3 credible online solutions to the improvement needed in unions, 2 of which we will briefly talk about. The first one that we have on our website is called Teacher Unions and Student Performance. Is it a help or a hindrance? Within this article, the author discusses bargaining and how it is the most effective way to gain better teacher pay, benefits, working conditions, employment security, and more.
The next article that we'll look into is New Ideas from a New Generation of Teachers. And in that article, Michael Stryer states that the teacher unions and their leaders should work on meeting students' needs through collaborative work. We also did some personal solutions that we each came up with, and my idea was that teachers should be given the opportunity to work with decision makers to ensure that their voices are heard, allowing for their needs to be accommodated, and a system could be developed and put into place that looks at student performance and growth, and then points out where teachers may be struggling or if their students are consistently showing no improvement over the years.
My personal solution, I decided to key in on that bargaining that the internet solution talked about, as well as the information that my teachers had given me. If the unions and the community have meetings at least 3 times a year where they get to discuss what's going on, how to better improve, and take a look at the leadership and see what needs to be changed.
And then I worked on the direct feedback, if it's possible for any concerns to be given directly to the union. The research that I did suggested this could be done through collaborative work, especially if the affiliates work with the districts and state partners to create the structure that will sustain that collaborative work over time. The teachers, districts, teacher unions must all work together. And finally, we have a resource page with a few California unions. These are only a few. There are obviously a lot more, but they also have information where one may learn more about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Karen Favreau, and I am part of the Anti-Parking Fee Activism Group, and here to talk about the high cost of a parking permit. The Transportation and Parking Services have developed a 5-year plan which began back in 2018 to address the campus roadways and parking lots, an estimated $2.8 million for maintenance and repairs. I can tell you that I have been on campus for 3 years and parked all over campus in many different lots, and not once have I seen any repair or road work being done, which is a bit frustrating, so it makes you wonder where the money is going. Back in 2018, when this project was launched, the cost of a parking permit was $102. At the end of the 5-year plan, which is the 2022-2023 semester, the cost is going to be $135. And they wonder why a lot of students don't buy parking passes. I can tell you, if you're on campus 1 to 2 days a week, your best investment is buying a pass, a $5 pass. Save yourself the money, because a parking permit is not worth it for that short of a duration. If you're a full-time student going 4 or 5 days a week, then yes, a parking permit is beneficial.
Hi, my name is Kevin Kingston. I'm a part of the Anti-Parking Fee Activism Group, and I wanted to talk to you today about our interview process and some of the thought that went into it. So from the beginning of this project, we were adamant about, at some point, getting in touch with students on campus and hearing from them, and just confirming that we weren't alone in our thinking about Sonoma State's parking fees. So our process went a little something like this. We went to campus, and if a passing student agreed to participate in our interview, we would first ask them if they had a parking pass, and 2, how they felt about having to pay for that parking pass. I think we got some really good results from this, and I'm glad that
So, do you have a parking pass?
I do indeed.
You do. And how do you feel about having to pay to park on a campus that you already paid for tuition at?
I'm not a fan of it because it's a lot of money too, and like you said, I already pay to go to school here, so why do I need to pay to park here?
Great answer. Seems like you got a good head on your shoulders. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie Campbell and I am part of the SSU Anti-Parking Fee Activism Group. For my portion of the project, I did a petition through change.org. This petition was shared amongst multiple Sonoma State Facebook pages, personal social medias, through friends and family. And this petition was basically just to see if this was also a common concern amongst students and faculty and other members of Sonoma State who felt that the parking permits were also too expensive and not as accessible for everybody. For this petition, we got over 240 signatures and a few comments as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share what our petition looked like. Also part of our project, I sent an email to President Judy Sakaki trying to arrange a time where we could schedule a meeting all together with our group and her to share our findings, which I got no response back. So I'm just going to go ahead and share the email as following. In terms of recent news on Sonoma State campus with President Judy Sakaki's husband, she did send out an email to every student on campus, which discussed how a portion of student fees that come from parking, student housing, student activities, etc., were being used towards her husband's settlement. So we just wanted to go ahead and include that because we believe that that is an unfair use of our students' money and felt that it fit in very well with our project. Thank you so much for watching our presentation, and we hope you enjoyed. Bye!
I hope you enjoyed our video, and thank you for watching.
Hope you enjoyed our video, and thank you for watching.
Hi everyone! The project that we are doing is called Beach Cleanup, and my name is Cindy Johnson. The rest of my team members are...
I'm Sierra Serta.
My name is Taylor Coda.
I'm Shayna Hammer.
The problem that we are addressing in this project is to raise awareness on how plastic and trash waste leads to the pollution of our environment, and we just hope to encourage others to address this problem and help make the environment a safer and cleaner place to live in.
Guys, I'm going to be talking about the 3 different ways that we addressed our problem. One of those being the physical beach cleanup that we put on, and we can show you the TikTok that we made at the beach cleanup right now.
Hi guys, I'm Shayna. We're out here at Salmon Creek Beach. We're hosting a little beach cleanup today and hopefully picking up some trash, helping out the community a little bit. Alright guys, come with us and let's go find some trash!
Hey guys, my name's Peter. A little bit about Surfrider. We're a non-profit organization nationally. We have a small club here on campus, and basically what we do is we do beach cleanups and raise environmental awareness for Sonoma County.
Instagram page, which we use to promote our beach cleanup that we put on, but we also used it to spread awareness about reduce, reusing, and recycling, and just overall how to keep our earth clean. Alright, and the third way that we addressed our problem was creating our Facebook page. We used this Facebook page to promote our beach cleanup, but we also think that this can be a space where other groups, organizations on campus, or community members can promote new beach cleanups, and it can be like an online hub for putting on beach cleanups in the Roanoke Park, Santa Rosa area.
Hey guys, our group also created a Facebook page. It's at California Beach Cleanup, and it's a way for other people in California to set up their own beach cleanups and to set up their own carpool and to get more people involved. And there will also be posts about how to help our environment in other ways.
So during our beach cleanup, we obviously try to pick up as much plastic or trash as we possibly could find. And in fact, we really did not find that much, which was shocking because that's usually not a common occurrence along the coasts of California or really coasts anywhere in the world, right? You're often finding lots of trash. You're often finding lots of plastic, whether that be along the coasts or whether that be actually in the ocean. And that all depends on, of course, where you are as well. Bodega Bay is pretty well kept. But I actually did have some statistics for you guys just to kind of put it in perspective of just how much trash there actually is in the world. I got this website called Condor, and the article is called Shocking Ocean Plastic Statistics and the Threat to Marine Life the ocean and humanity. So intense. The article was just written last year. So they said as of 2021, there were 500 billion plastic bottles that were used every single year, meaning that there's about 66 times as many plastic bottles as there are humans. So that's terrifying. They said that the global plastic production pumps out about 270 million metric tons, and then that builds up to about 275 million metric tons of plastic waste in total. About 99.5 million metric tons of that waste is then distributed along the coasts, and about 39.9 million metric tons of coastal mismanaged plastic waste then remains. Obviously, the stuff that just does not get picked up. About 8 million metric tons of that plastic waste then goes into the oceans. Later, they said that by 2022, obviously now, plastic bottle production is predicted to hit about 594 billion per year. So like almost 600 billion plastic bottles being distributed as of 2022, or so they predict. But I mean, if we were already at 500 billion plastic bottles in 2021, I would not be surprised if we hit that number in 2022 or even exceeded it. So yeah, with that all being said, just keep this in mind. Keep plastic production in the back of your minds. What can you swap out for, this specific plastic item? And what can, with this plastic item, how often can you use it until you absolutely have to get rid of it? And I mean, this is such a minute contribution to climate change, and we play such a small part. But as individuals, I always say it's better to do something than to do nothing. So with that all being said, thank you so much for following us along on our journey. Do yourselves a favor, follow our Instagram, follow our Facebook. Luna wanted to say hi to you guys too. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, and that's all for us.
Hi, I'm Melinda.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Emily.
I'm Sierra.
And I'm Dina. Teen years are hard, but for LGBTQ plus teens, those years are even harder. Many experience bullying, abuse, homelessness, violence, and neglect. Our Rainbow Strong project recognizes this and is committed to help. We have created a website, Instagram page, and bookmark to be handed out with granola bars, all linked to local resources.
In this website, we hope to make each resource available by explaining what is included with each resource and direct access to their website by either viewing the page on our website or linking it to their page on a different tab. We also link our Instagram and other ways to connect to the community.
So one of our solutions was to create an Instagram page that was made accessible for teens who use social media. Through this page, teens can easily access a variety of resources in the Sonoma County area to help with shelter, clothes, food, education, employment, counseling, mental health, and more. Some of the resources include Voices, Say, and Positive Images, all shelters and community centers who are dedicated to helping their community by providing at-risk teens with their needs. Along with these local resources posted on the Instagram, we also provided highlighted stories at the top of the page that provides hotlines, affirmations, and education on LGBT terminology, history, and statistics. These combinations of resources and information were made to make sure that the teens not only have access to them, but also to educate allies.
So another aspect of our project was that we developed these 6-inch by 2-inch bookmarks, and they can be handed out by teachers and guidance counselors at local high schools. These bookmarks contain a positive message that tells students they're appreciated and loved, as well as a QR code that links directly to our Instagram account. Our design element uses discrete language as to honor teens and students who are not openly out to their families.
The bookmark and granola bar combination will be passed out to schools such as Credo High School, which is in Rohnert Park, and Santa Rosa High School in Santa Rosa. We specifically chose Santa Rosa High School because of the large student body and the proximity to organizations such as Voices, which is just down the street, making it a super accessible resource for the students there. Having this opportunity for the teachers or counselors to hand out these snacks and bookmarks to students
gives the teachers an opportunity to connect with their students who are at risk and give it a discreet way to pass along the information rather than handing out a brochure or a flyer for positive images, voices, or SAY, which could single the student out and isolate them from their peers. This is a way that teachers can connect with their students in a super low-key, discreet way, and also provide them a yummy snack and reusable bookmark. If you want to learn more about our project, you can check out our Instagram at the Rainbow Strong Project or our website for more information. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Armando Quiroga.
Hi, my name is Sarah Passa.
Our project name is called Exploring Everyday Epistemology. And for this project, we did a hands-on interview-style research project that focused on questioning members of society based on what they hold to be true. Greatly influenced by the education we received regarding factual history and the way it's been blotted out of American narrative, we aim to inform the public about events and people that we found to be significantly misinterpreted.
We chose this research idea to further investigate the first few readings of Hutchins. Lies My Teacher Told Me by James Lowen and Plato's Allegory of the Cave were a big inspiration to test our epistemology and further our research. The following videos are results of our investigation. So, we are doing our senior capstone project on epistemologies. Do you have any idea what epistemologies are?
No idea.
So it's basically like testing the truths of people and like what they've learned, and Armando has a better explanation of it. I can't explain
education teaches you things and says it's fact as opposed to what's really truthful out there. So topics such as Christopher Columbus, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, these historical figures that we hear so much about and learn so minimally about versus what they've actually done, what tragedies they've caused, so on and so forth.
Well, you're talking to me as a Black American, so I'm pretty aware of that kind of stuff.
So hopefully we touch on some things that you haven't heard of, but definitely if you're one to already know some things, that also helps our cause because it shows that people are learning and will peer into how you did that. So
yeah, okay.
So one of the questions I really had a hard time like taking into consideration after learning all we learned in elementary school about Christopher Columbus. What do you know about Christopher Columbus?
As of now, or back when I was in school back then?
Either way, like both.
Well, basically European guy came over here, basically discovered America, even though it was already discovered. Basically, what I know, basically raped, killed, and kind of took over the whole, a lot of America, basically. Basically, it was kind of seen as this, like, kind of like this, this giant, like this good person, but really he wasn't. And again, I don't really bash the guy personally because I feel like it's easy for us to say, oh, he was a bad guy. But in reality, like, we live in different times, new technology, new perspectives, right? So it's hard to criticize somebody who was just trying to find a better way of life in a way. But he did it the wrong way, but nonetheless, it was a different time. So I think we got to understand, like, it was wrong what he did, but, like, most of us probably done the same thing given those circumstances. So.
Yeah, that was the history at the time.
Yeah.
And so we gathered some information from James Lowen's books, Lies My Teacher Told Me, and some of the information was quite surprising. I mean, you got most of the information, but there's a little more gritty details into it.
Yeah, of course.
He was not actually the first person to discover America and sail the ocean blue.
Yeah, of course.
But did you know that Vikings were actually some of the first people to travel to America? Besides the Native Americans that were already there.
That I did not know. No.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because a lot of people just think, oh, Native Americans were there and then Christopher Columbus came and discovered. But it's actually
America was founded.
Yeah, but the Vikings went and traveled there prior to Christopher Columbus and discovered America as well. And then something quite triggering to know. I mean, you had a little insight of it, him being a rapist, but his biggest endowment was his massacre of domestic Western people. And in preparation for that, he had his soldiers rape and kill a bunch of women to desensitize them.
Damn.
Yeah.
So as opposed to just having them go there and do these tragedies, he had them under the sense that they needed to, and to desensitize them to the fact that this was necessary as opposed to something that was just going to happen inevitably.
Well, I would even argue now, like that's any conqueror's objective, right? You look at the Russia-Ukraine stuff. Not only got to bomb Ukraine, for example, they got to rape people. It's just that power trip that these people have.
Superiority.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's with any nationality. It's not just, white people or Christopher Columbus. That's a human problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that hierarchical sense of
exactly.
understanding.
But based on the information, how do you feel about Christopher Columbus and what you were taught before, what you've learned now?
You know, I want to hate him, but I feel like, it's a human problem. It's not just tied to him specifically, you know? So he did wrong, but again, we still see it in the 21st century, so it's just different times.
Yeah. And do you think that there's a certain time period that it should be, or like certain time, like elementary school, middle school, high school, where it should be implemented that, you know, he isn't this great person?
I think middle school.
Yeah.
I think that's too much for little kids to know about, because little kids they're growing up. They have to grow up. You can't just shove this all in their face. But by the time you're in middle school, your brain is at least somewhat able to understand these things better. Yeah. Like, I didn't know kids could die at a young age until I was 10. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think by middle school, I think it's kind of more appropriate to kind of include something. So.
All right. Well, and what's your major?
Sociology.
Sociology. All right. Just trying to figure out like where people are and where they sit in the ideas of history. So.
Obviously, sociology gives you a little more background. So.
Yeah.